While Ethiopia's Tigray region has achieved a state of peace, its children continue to suffer from severe hunger. Greetings, everyone. Today, our video focuses on the dire situation in the Tigray region of Ethiopia, where a severe hunger crisis has emerged. It is disheartening to learn that in the 6 months leading up to January 2022, nearly 400 individuals have tragically lost their lives due to starvation. This region has been deeply affected by a 2-year-long conflict between federal troops and regional forces, exacerbated by drought and mismanagement of aid. Shockingly, the United Nations and the United States have suspended food assistance to Tigray as a result of a large-scale scheme orchestrated by Ethiopian officials to steal humanitarian grain. The meager harvest has raised concerns of an impending famine, reminiscent of the devastating famine that occurred in 1984 to 85, claiming the lives of hundreds of thousands of people in northern Ethiopia. Without further delay, let us begin our discussion on this pressing matter. Tinso Hiluf, a widow residing in the parched expanse of Ethiopia's Tigray region, finds herself confronted with the harsh realities of both war and drought. In the wake of her sister's tragic demise during childbirth, she has taken on the responsibility of raising her 4 orphaned nieces and nephews. The devastating 2-year conflict between federal and regional troops claimed the life of one of her own sons, while the remaining children, now grown, bear witness to the aftermath. Compounding their plight, the relentless drought plaguing the region has resulted in a scarcity of sustenance, leaving the youngest child in her care suffering from malnutrition. In an attempt to gather seeds amidst the limited vegetation of the desert's rocky, yellow terrain, she endeavors to sustain herself. However, she has recently taken to journeying to the Finalwa Health Center in southeastern Tigray, hoping to ensure the survival of her 1-year-old child. She stated that in times of hunger they consume whatever is available in the desert, but otherwise they abstain from eating. In the secluded administrative region of Nibar Hadnet, she became part of a group of mothers who sought assistance at the center. Among them was a mother of 5 who expressed her concern over the absence of breast milk for her 8-month-old infant. Another mother, who had 1-year-old twins, urgently requested packets of baby food to ensure the survival of her precious little ones. Although Tigray is currently in a state of peace, the lingering impact of war, coupled with drought and mismanagement of aid, resulted in the temporary suspension of deliveries by the UN and the US last year. Barren fields once teeming with life now stretch out before us. Worry lines etch the faces of mothers forced to witness their children waste away from lack of nourishment. Startling statistics released by the National Ombudsman in January shed light on the severity of the situation. Nearly 400 individuals succumbed to starvation in Tigray and the adjacent Amhara region over the course of 6 months leading up to January. This admission by the federal government, a rare acknowledgement of hunger-related deaths, underscores the gravity of the crisis. The majority of fatalities were documented in Tigray, a region inhabited by 5.5 million individuals. Following the conclusion of a devastating conflict between federal troops and supporters of the former ruling party in the region, a peace agreement was finally signed in November 2022. However, even after months had passed since the end of the war, the United Nations and the United States made the decision to cease providing food assistance to Tigray. This drastic measure was taken due to a large-scale operation orchestrated by Ethiopian officials to unlawfully appropriate humanitarian aid. The following growing season proved to be insufficient to meet the needs. According to an evaluation conducted by UN agencies, NGOs and regional authorities and reviewed by the AP, the primary planting season in Tigray last year witnessed only 49% of farmland being utilized due to persistent insecurity. As a result of drought, crop production in these regions amounted to only 37% of the anticipated yield. The assessment further revealed that in certain areas the proportion of crop production plummeted to as low as 2%. In response to the meager crop yield, authorities in Tigray issued a dire warning of an imminent famine that could rival the devastating famine of 1984 to 85, resulting in the loss of countless lives in northern Ethiopia. However, this catastrophic outcome can be averted if the aid efforts are significantly intensified. Despite some food deliveries reaching Tigray during the latter half of the previous year, only a fraction of the vulnerable population in Tigray is currently benefiting from essential food assistance, as reported by humanitarian workers. Among the severely affected areas, Finawa, a farming community with a population of approximately 13,000, stands out as one of the hardest hit. Despite efforts to rebuild, the health centre in the town remains plagued by equipment damaged during the war, giving it an abandoned appearance in certain rooms. Tadessa Mehari, the clinic's officer in charge, revealed that the scarcity of food in the community has compelled children to escape and resort to begging in neighbouring towns. There is a complete absence of sustenance in this vicinity. Consequently, in order to secure nourishment and preserve their lives, individuals are compelled to relocate to distant locations, he explained. As a result, a significant number of people within this region are enduring immense hardship. They are deprived of sustenance and succumbing to the dire consequences of starvation. In a state of helplessness, certain local leaders have resorted to rejecting their own people. For a duration of 5 years, Hayale Gebrekadian served as a district leader in Nebar Hadnet. On a recent afternoon, he attentively heard the appeals of numerous villagers who sought his assistance. One particular widow, Sarah Witt Wold, arrived at his office in tears, sharing the distressing news that 5 of her 10 children were suffering from hunger-related illnesses. She pleaded with Hayale, desperately seeking assistance. Hayale expressed to the woman that he had no resources to offer, stating, "Regrettably, there is a complete absence of provisions." According to Hayale, who spoke to the AP, this location was once a beacon of optimism, even for those uprooted by the conflict. There was an abundance that could sustain everyone, but now we struggle to nourish ourselves. There is absolutely nothing remaining, he lamented, reflecting on the devastating impact of the war that stripped away everything. According to Haval, the availability of water posed an extra obstacle. Out of the original 25 wells that provided sustenance for the community and its livestock, only 5 are still operational. Currently, individuals must endure a journey of more than 90 minutes in order to obtain water. Due to the ongoing drought in the region, certain areas that typically receive approximately 60 days of rainfall during the rainy season have unfortunately experienced a significantly reduced amount. There are farmers who refuse to surrender. Despite experiencing minimal rainfall during the previous rainy season, Haile Gebre-Kirstos, a 70-year-old resident of Mesibo village, persevered in cultivating his arid land and growing sorghum. Despite the land's transformation from a thriving, fertile area filled with livestock to a desolate expanse, his optimism never wavered, even in the face of the previous harvest's failure. Driven by desperate circumstances, he decided to start ploughing earlier than usual, even before the onset of the rainy season in May or June. He shared stories of fellow farmers who, in order to provide for their families, had resorted to selling their oxen and agricultural equipment. The haunting memory of the famine that occurred in the 1980s continues to linger in his mind. He recalls how it had a profound impact on the entire region during that time. Presently, in certain districts, the situation is either equivalent to the severity of the 1980s famine or, in some cases, even more dire. To support our channel's growth and ensure broader awareness, kindly hit the like and subscribe buttons. This will help us reach more individuals and disseminate valuable information. Thank you in advance.